Boom. A lot of first-time founders think that they need to build a minimum viable product, MVP, in order to start making their first dollars. But that's no longer true. The problem is that if you build first, you risk building something nobody wants. And trust me, I've seen this countless times. I've actually made this mistake myself a couple of times. So in this video, I'm going to give you the alternative that I also give my clients so that you can start making money before building something. And so maximizing your chances of not building something that nobody wants. And if you don't know me, my name is Riley Riles, ex-software engineer, now startup advisor and investor. I've worked with big companies all over the world, and I've also worked with 50+ startups, helping them build businesses and scale as fast as possible. This year, my clients, first-time founders, made collectively $500,000. And I want to give you today what I give them so you can do the same. Let's go. In this video, I'll explain you why the MVP is a trap, what is the pre-order principle, the difference between pre-order and waiting list and how to leverage that. Then we'll discuss the psychology behind this. And finally, what I tell my clients. Let's go. The MVP trap. So here's the problem. Everyone tells you to build an MVP before trying to get your customers and trying to sell anything. But the problem is, if your MVP takes 3 months to build and you realize that nobody wants it, you've lost 3 months. And now you're probably gonna say, yeah, but Riley, with the new technologies, I can build it in 1 week, 2 weeks, a couple of days. You have half a point. Let me tell you a story. I had probably 5 consulting sessions with people who were able to build MVPs in just a couple of weeks. But here's what they all told me. They build the thing in 1-2 weeks, try to sell it, nobody bought it, trashed it, build another thing, 1-2 weeks, try to sell it, nobody wanted it, trashed it, and some of them, what was that? And some of them ended up losing 6 months. Building those small MVPs week after week after week and constantly being blocked at the exact same stage, which is the getting people to buy it. So yes, with the new technologies and the LLMs and the GPTs and all of that, you can now speed up the development process and reduce it from a whole year to just a week. But if you make 12 times, 50 times the same mistake or building the wrong thing, at the end of the day, you're losing a lot of time. But here's the thing, I get it. But we have to understand where this MVP concept comes from. The MVP concept comes from an era pre-internet. I don't know if you were born, but back in the days, if you wanted to build a video game or just a music album, you would have to press that game into a CD, put it in a truck. The truck would drive all the way to the port, then put it in a container. That container would go on the boat would cross the world, etc., etc. And that logistic process could take a full year before that video game that was printed was received and played by the customer. And so at that time, it made perfect sense that you wanted to make sure that that CD, that piece of plastic and aluminum, contained everything for the person to enjoy the minimum valuable product, because you wouldn't be able to ship an update fast, right? But now, in the era of fast internet and super duper logistics, you can get your update instantly. And so you can constantly update and improve your product, your service, without having to go through that super hard logistic chain. And so that's why the MVP concept does not fully make sense in certain situations, especially in the digital world and digital services, because you can ship updates instantly to your users. So that being said, what are the alternatives to the MVP? You're probably familiar with something like waiting lists or pre-orders, but let me give you a little bit more details around why this is powerful. Here's an example. When you buy a concert ticket or a sports ticket, fundamentally, you actually pre-ordering something. You may be able to say, yes, but I actually bought a piece of paper, a ticket. But what value does that piece of paper really has? Not that much. What you're actually doing is pre-ordering the experience of a concert, pre-ordering the experience of a football or basketball game. So the concept of pre-order is already in everyone's mind. People are familiar with these things. And the difference between a ticket concert that you purchase and then that concert is going to happen in 2, 3, 4, 6 months, and the SaaS, the service that you're selling, is that people don't have the same amount of trust. They're 100% convinced that when they're buying your concert ticket, there's a 100% chance they'll be allowed into the building when that concert is going to happen. This is the number one thing that you need to work on, the trust that you will deliver on the promise. And I want to make sure you guys understand that. Don't sell something that you cannot build. The power of a pre-order is people telling you that they want your product. And remember, life is too short to build something nobody wants. So pre-ordering is getting your future customer to actually give you the hard-earned money into something that is going to be built. And that's the highest form of validation. There are 3 kinds of validation. Number 1, people pay you with time. So they listen to your pitch, they listen to your demo, they listen to your teasers, etc., etc. Number 2, they pay you with referrals. So they show their friends and families that thing that you're building. So they're becoming ambassador to what you're building. And number 3, the highest form of validation is that they're paying you with a form of money. And so this is what you want to chase. You want to chase the highest form of validation. And this is exactly where the difference sits between pre-order and waiting lists. In a waiting list, people are paying you with their time. So they're spending a little bit of time in order to get into your waiting list, and so they'll fill the form or whatever that you've put in place, and that is giving you time to confirm that they're interested in your idea. But you see how different it is from money? So giving you time, giving you money. You should chase the highest reward. And the other thing, not everyone values their time the same way. So they can hop in onto your waiting list because fundamentally there's not that much friction. Okay, I'm gonna fill a form. Okay, I'm gonna answer a couple of questions, but fundamentally, it's not blocking me. So they can always withdraw from the waiting list. So it's easy to get in, but it's easier to get out. As opposed to giving you money, it's hard to get in because they have to pull out the credit card, but it's also hard to get out because then they would have to call the bank or go into some process to get a refund or something like that. So now you may be wondering, but why people would pay for an idea? So I'm gonna pop a couple of examples, but look at the Cybertruck. A car, an expensive car, was pre-ordered and people paid, I think it was $1,000 to be able to order the car after that. Even better with the Roadster 2, how many decades ago was it announced? Pre-order for the Roadster 2 was crazy, but yet a lot of people jumped into it. And the reason is because, remember what I said earlier, it's the perceived value that they'll get that gets them excited. And just like with everything, there's what we call the distribution curve. And in every kind of situation, you will have a small amount of very early adopters, very late adopters, and the vast majority will be in the middle. And so what you want to do with the pre-order is you want to get to that 1 to 10% of the early adopters. There's always people who want to be the first to get the iPhone, the first to get the concert ticket, the first who will be in line, the first to get the crypto. Did I say the first? That's tapping into their sense of exclusivity, especially if you market it with your pre-order and you say, pre-order for the early access, VIP, and add a bunch of extra features or give them a special price, something that will make them look special compared to the big amount of people that will join later. The second aspect of that is the scarcity factor. The fact that it's rare, the fact that it's limited resource. Some people will jump in because they think they may not get it in the future. Particularly at this deal. Look at the typical Black Friday events where people rushing into the stores to get those products because they know they're limited quantity and they may never be able to get a deal like this after. So if you position your value proposition right, your product and service right, and wrap your pre-order with enough exclusivity and scarcity, you will be able to tap into those 1 to 10% of early adopters, and these people will validate your product without building the MVP. Here's what I always tell my clients. If you can get 10 people to pay you even $10 or $100, you don't have an idea anymore. You have a business. Because then what's going to happen, in your mind, your brain is going to tell you it's possible. And everything from now on will be about how can I get from 10 to 20 to 50 to 100. And that's how you go from a side project to a business. And that's how you skip the MVP section and get straight into let's build and grow something. Hey, real quick, if you're stuck with your idea or your startup and you want to talk to someone, I'll drop you a free clarity call link in the description down below. Boom. So now I hope you understand that you don't necessarily need to build an MVP to start getting money from your potential customers and validate your idea and eventually your product in the market, so that you don't have to waste time building something nobody wants. I hope this video helps. If it does, remember, I post videos weekly on how you can build and grow your SaaS and service businesses, especially if you're a first-time founder. And until next time, boom.